We were discussing avidya, one avidya in Pali, and anavidya.
Yeah.
And Simon, you were mentioning that the PTS was suggesting that it came from the prefix or preposition ava, meaning down, and Srinamala's lost her connection again, and avidya, meaning kind of base or low, which, and then we checked on Monia Williams, who didn't seem to support that view. And also that view, if it was ava plus dya, there would have to be some kind of recognizable suffix dya, which the Sanskrit works of reference couldn't find, and the PTS doesn't really say very much about it. Suspiciously little, one would have thought. Now, I did actually find, let me just call it up. It just shows how these the detective work can actually be quite fun here. So you look it up. I'm just going to share screen with you. Here we go. Share screen. Is the screen shared with Monia Williams now? Thank you. So avidya seemed to mean not to be praised. Well, we know what it means. It's kind of, avidya is blameworthy, but it seemed to be from avidya, not to be praised. And so I actually then did check it in Panini, book 3, chapter 1, sutra, or paragraph 101. And Panini there gives a list of 4 particular roots that form the future passive participle in this way with a certain meaning. And he does specifically singular, yes, from the root vad, meaning to say, alternatively to speak of in a praiseworthy way. He does give vadya and avadya. So according to Panini, it is from this root. And I'm certainly not bold enough to be challenging Panini here. So there it is. I think we can be pretty sure that it is from the root vad.
Yeah.
But vad also vad in its secondary meaning as to praise. We have incidentally this root of this meaning of praising with the prefix abhi as well. Oops, here we are. Are you familiar with this verb, abhivad? We chant it many times. Buddhang Bhagavantam Abhivademi. This is in the course the class 10. So in Sanskrit, Vadayati, Pali Vadeti. So Abhi is like up, it's like talking up, which is a way of saying offering reverential praise or homage. So that's the Buddhang Bhagavantam Abhivademi. The other point you raised was explanation of Tirashchana or Tirachana.
Sorry, could I just clarify that thing about avajja?
Please.
Saying that okay, so we're certain it is vajja, and the vajja is what vajja turns into as a future passive, presumably. So not to be spoken of.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Could it not? I mean, if it's ava, could it to be spoken down to, as in to be disparaged? Because it would retain the future passive form, vajja, but avavajja, to be basically to be told off or to be belittled in speech.
But it's not avavajja, it's anavajja with an N.
Yeah, I mean, didn't the okay, yeah, because I suppose the dictionary said it was from ava. So we were wondering, presumably, why it would be not to be spoken down to. That it would be saying that if it was an, the n couldn't have just crept in, could it? It would have to mean not to be disparaged.
Yeah, so on the Painini Moni Williams interpretation, the ana is a double negative,
Yeah.
not unspecific. So avajja and anavajja.
Okay, but didn't the dictionary say that the avajja is a contraction of something like avavajja? So to be spoken down to, and then an avajja would be not to be spoken down to.
So the PTS dictionary, you mean?
That's where it came from, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm calling this up right now then, so we can finally dispose of it. We have had previous occasions where we have tried to dispose of something finally, and as we dig, it's less final even than we started. But let's just see what happens here. So,
Yeah, avajja in reality derived from ava.
but derived from ava. Okay. So according to Chan, not it's just it's avavad. Avavadya in the sense of to blame. Okay, so that's so a commentary refers to it as avavad. Okay, avavadya. Um, okay, so first of all, and I can't outright say it's wrong, but I would say the evidence seems to be stacked against it. Firstly, because we have Panini specifically talking about this and three comparable words. Another thing is avadya, the ava, the prefix ava meaning off or down, in Pali does frequently mutate into an o, as in, for example, avatarati becomes otarati. But I don't know of any case, unless this is true, I don't know of any other case where ava just becomes a.
But that's what it says here. Avajja, Sanskrit avadya, seemingly a plus vadya, but in reality derived
From Apple. Okay. Now let's just look at that statement. That statement directly contradicts Painini, who deals with this specific word. Um, this is one of those occasions where we are seeing somebody directly contradicting Pawnee and Monia Williams. Okay, I will certainly listen to what they have to say, but the mere assertion that it is so seems to me to require more evidence.
Mm. I mean, the problem is I don't know the relative weight which should be given to either Parnani, who's obviously a heavy hitter in your book, um, or the
Um,
or the compiler of the PED. But I'm quite happy to take your word for it. If you think that's enough,
yeah.
that's fine, because the other is just a is an extra element that I spotted last week when I looked
Mm.
at the PED. So I'm quite happy to go with like not to be spoken.
Yeah. Um, so there was Panini a heavy hitter. I suppose it's like saying, was Moses a heavy hitter when it came to the, promulgation of the Jewish law and the word of God? I mean, he is
Yeah,
the arch heavy hitter. Or does Shakespeare have any kind of standing or importance in English literature? So, I mean, are you familiar at all with Panini?
I've only heard of him, and then
Ah,
you've obviously spoken about him, but I vaguely understand he is the kind of godfather of such matters. As I say, I'm quite happy
yeah.
if you're praising him that much to go with his word and to eliminate this possibility.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether what they've put in the PTS dictionary here might be a bit of popular etymology. Um, I mean, I would have preferred it if they had actually mentioned what Painini says and given their reason for it, reason for departing from what Painini says. Um,
But it goes on to say the Pali commentator refers it to ava plus vad
yeah.
in the sense of to blame,
Mm.
low, inferior, or blamable.
Yeah. So what actually puzzles me here? Okay, let's just say that these are legitimate comments. What slightly puzzles me um, is that avidya in Sanskrit and the way that Panini has described it and Moni Williams has described it seems so kind of simple and obvious and understandable. So I can understand these other derivations being raised if it was a word that kind of didn't make sense. There was some doubt. You were struggling to find a derivation for it. But when we got something so plain and obvious,
I
I
mean,
wonder why.
I don't want to draw it out, but that it could be that to be unspeakable is not necessarily bad, like the Hebrew name for God, but to speak
Hmm.
down to is always deprecatory.
Yeah, I mean this comes from the secondary meaning of that meaning, to praise.
Right.
So it's the so unpraiseworthy. So often, as you know, when you negate a word in Pali, it doesn't mean kind of bring it down to zero. It's kind of the opposite, the exact opposite of its positive qualities. So when you talk about akusala, for example, um, it doesn't mean something's got a zero degree of skillfulness. It means it's positively unskillful. Um, I mean, it may well be that this is one of those cases where the Pali commentators did, in ignorance of Parmeni, which would not have been their fault in any way, understood it in that way. And maybe a lot of people were taught that was what it meant. So it's, as I've mentioned before, it's a legitimate thing for us to know and discuss because it was their way of understanding these words. Um, I'm going to leave it as an open question. I'm getting kind of more reluctant as I go on to say no, this is plain wrong. But I would say I would like to see further discussion from learned people in the light of what Panini wrote. And Panini, the great grandfather of Sanskrit grammar, who actually composed his work. He was approximately, we don't know his dates exactly, but he was approximately a contemporary of the Buddha. Um, and, and so mighty was his work that we can still admire it. I still do admire it. And it's one of those things that you hardly dare to say that Pananu could have been wrong. In many cases, he actually formulated the rules from a mass of rules. Many of the rules of Sanskrit that we now say, well, that is a rule. You cite Panini in support of that rule. Um,
I'm happy to accept that he nods even less than Homer.
yes. So there it is. It's I'm if I was asked to make a choice now, I would say it is from the Sanskrit avadya. However, these are these other bits are left open. Um, but and as I say, one other thing against it is that if it is from ava plus dia, well, where does the dia come from? That there's no known suffix in Sanskrit, which is dia.
Well, isn't it Vajja to be spoken of? And then either Avajja, um, not to be spoken of, or Avavajja to be spoken down to.
So when okay, so maybe they hadn't or I hadn't understood well what they were saying. Sorry, I meant to be calling it this up here. So if it's derived from ava, so that it makes it look here as if they're giving ava as a word on its own. Oh, hang on, it's disappeared. Disappeared. Here we are. Seemingly avadya, but in reality derived from ava. So I understood that to say, okay, let's take the preposition ava meaning down, then followed by a suffix dia. My problem there was that there is no suffix dia.
Yeah, I assumed it to mean Ava is the prefix a, or is the prefix rather than at, but
Yeah.
that's how the dictionary is put together. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I think Shranimala is falling asleep now, so I think we can leave it.
So this has been, yeah, this maybe is, we maybe have spent a
No, it's
little,
okay. It's new. Even I don't know the meaning. But every day we are chanting, but I don't know the meaning. Now only I'm learning.
okay, so, well, an avanja just means
Yeah.
praiseworthy, not blameworthy, therefore praiseworthy. I think we can kind of leave it open. My provisional view is to go with the Sanskrit one, but to say there are people who produced reasons for saying what's reported in the PTS. Um, and conclude my bit anyway by saying I would like to see them discuss it further in the light of knowing what Parnani has to say about it. Um, so we can just leave it as one of these entertaining mysteries that one day we might find out more about. Um, the derivation of tirachana. You Are you familiar with do you have a copy of Moni Williams? So not Moni Williams, but Macdonell's Sanskrit Grammar for Students.
Only online.
Okay, right. Um, it's a, there is a rather complex declension. Basically it means crosswise, and it's an adjective made from the word crosswise or across, horizontal as opposed to upright. Exactly how it gets there. Rather than take up the time in this Pali class, I would refer you to paragraph 93 in Monia Williams, which gives this the declension of words, typically adjectives indicating a direction, ending in the root anch, which goes through some very strange phonetic mutations in Sanskrit. It's one of those ones where you can read through it quickly and then turn to another page, hoping you'll never actually have to master it. One interesting reason why I would encourage you just to look, don't learn it by heart, but just look at paragraph 93 in MacDonnell. And you will see that it's so samma, our Pali word samma, as in sammadeti, sammakamanta, often translated as right. It derives from sam-i anch in Pali, meaning folding together, harmoniously coming together, and becomes samyak in Sanskrit and samma in Pali. And it means not just rightness, but a harmonious wholeness, samma. Do you know what the abstract noun from that is, anybody? It is samichi, as in samichi patipanno bhagavato savaka sangho, supatipanno, ujupatipanno, nyaya patipanno, samichi patipanno. So samichi is the abstract noun, it's just a noun form of the adjective samma. It's basically, they're just grammatical forms of the same word. So when we talk about the Bhagavato Savaka Sangho, the community of disciples of the Blessed One, is patipanno, endowed with or practicing in that way. With samichi, they're endowed with samichi. That's all, just the noun for all of the qualities that are involved in samma. Basically, not only rightness but harmonious wholeness. There's a sense of harmony within that word, samma. So it's a complex little declension there. You'll find it, paragraph 93. I enjoy it, but I can't expect everyone else to. But it's from that same, so samyanch becomes samyak, and tiryanch, going across, becomes a derivative word is tiracha, or tirascha in Sanskrit, tiracha in Pali, and tirachana, so it just means transverse or crosswise, and therefore meaning an animal, because an animal goes with horizontal spine, unlike us who walk with upright spine.
If it's the abstract noun, are the other ones just adjectives, as in supatipanno? What's the other ones? Ujupatipanno, nyayapatipanno.
Su is just the prefix meaning good or well, which is neither. It's not of itself an adjective or a noun. It can convey an adjectival or an adverbial quality, just meaning good or well.
So that would be something like they are well practiced.
Yes, it would. Nyaya is a noun, and it's a straight noun. Uju is an adjective.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, in Sanskrit, it's riju, from the root rij. And that root rig, rij or rig, becomes rec in Latin, meaning and it becomes recht and right in English, right in the sense of upright, to set something right. So rigiu means basically uprightness, or via the Latin word rectitude. So the rig, which can in Pali, rig, rectitude, just behaving in a generally right manner. They're endowed with rectitude, correct behavior. So all of that is embraced in Uju. In fact, our English form of the word is closer to the original Sanskrit than the Pali one is, because the Pali, the R has just become an U.
So that would be, would that be adverbial in the sense of practiced rightly or something like that?
So Uju Patipanno, yeah, practicing with rectitude. Ujjupatipanno rectitude. Yeah, I suppose you could say Ujjupatipanno. Ridge on its own is an adjective, but when joined to something like patipanno, which is it would take on an adverbial form.
So if we've got an adverb and an adjective, how would the abstract for samichi, how would you render that?
Okay, samichi is definitively a noun and an abstract noun.
So what sort of compound would that make samichi patipanno?
That would be um, a tapurisa compound. So patipanno, practicing, and samichi would be the word then that characterizes how they practice.
Right, okay.
So yeah, I'm fairly confident in saying that that's a tapurisa compound.
If it characterizes it, wouldn't that be a kamadaria in the sense of it qualifies the second term? So kind of
No, and it defines and qualifies the second term. So patipano, you can be patipano in all sorts of ways. Supatipano, ujupatipano, nyayapatipano, and so on. It's just describing the way in which they practice. It's not a karmadharya, because karmadharya would have to be something like blackbird,
I'm thinking,
which kind of like a direct description rather than a defining qualification.
wouldn't that be a direct description of the practice that was done, practiced, that it's not just practiced, but a qualified practice in the sense of it being having the samichi quality, having this completeness.
My brain is beginning to spin. Can you just kind of make that point again? So, okay, firstly, how do you understand the Karamadharya compounds?
Isn't that where the first one modifies the second? It says what type of second term it is. So as you say, blackbird, that it's a bird, and the blackness is what describes the bird.
It's an inherent quality of the bird. I think one way of testing a Karamadharya, if you split up the compound, would they both be in the same case?
Well, you couldn't with it. That's the point I'm getting at. You couldn't have an abstract noun in that case, could you?
You couldn't, no, because you couldn't have an abstract noun plus partipano in the same case. You would be practicing with samichi. So with the character, the real test of a kamadharya, if you split up the compound, then does it then become adjective plus noun, both in the same case? If it's not, if it's with samichi or qualify how that they do something, that automatically disqualifies it from being a karamadharya.
So if put on the spot, how would you rough and readily translate Samichi Patipanno?
If I'm put on the spot, I would refer you to my mini essay on Samma in the explanatory glossary. And I would further, being put on the spot, say this is one of the best examples I can think of how we cannot get a one-word translation of this term in Pali. I do have in the explanatory glossary, I do have a note on it. Can I find it? So I'm just trying to call it up here. And then in a few moments, I'll get round to looking at the verse we're meant to be looking at for our long-suffering other people out here. Yeah, okay. Here's the explanatory glossary explaining how it comes from the root anch, originally meaning to bend, from which we get words like angle and ankle and anga. So I mean anga, the Sanskrit word anger, not anger, krodha. And then, like put it here, look, samma is often translated as right, as in samadhitti. However, the word involves much more than just right. And then I go on with a little mini essay on what samma involves. When I wrote this, I hadn't yet spotted that, of course, we regularly chant Samichi Patipanno. I'm going to do an additional little note in the explanatory glossary to refer to this this passage from the Itipiso. So anyway, there it is, the explanatory glossary, which hopefully you all have access to. So let us now. Was there any more than that, Simon, for the moment? Yeah, I've lost you. Oh, there we are. I've just lost you off my screen for a moment. So last time round, we hadn't completed verse 10. So I'll just read through this first part of the verse again. Sahavassa dassana sampadaya tayassu dhamma jahita bhavanti sakkaya ditti vichikichitancha silabbatam vapi yadatti kinchi. So I think we'd pretty much done the first line. So with his attainment of vision, three things are abandoned. So the three things that are abandoned then are the sakayaditi, vichikichitam, and silabbatam. Simon, please.
With it being bhavanti rather than hoti, is the implication there that the three things become abandoned rather than they just are?
I would venture to say yes. Yeah. Strictly speaking, hoti and bhavati, or hoti is just the lenited or simplified Pali form of bhavati, And as you know, huti doesn't exist in Sanskrit, it's just bhavati. Bhavanti. Um, but here, yes, Simon, I think you could be right that it could be used in that way, just to emphasize that they become abandoned. Because after all, it is a process. You're going to work towards a certain point, and then these things get abandoned. So yeah, I think you made a good point there. So the first one is the Sakaya Ditti, um, literally the Sakaya Drishti, the Drishti or Ditti, the view of the Sakaya. There's been a little bit of dispute as to Sakaya. Um, one of the one of the competing views is that it was from Swagaya, the Swa meaning one's own, but that wouldn't account for the double K. Not that that's conclusive, because sometimes Pali just doubles letters even without etymological justification. All I can say is that the better view appears to be that it's from in Sanskrit it's Satkaya, the being body, the existing body. Anyway, it means basically doctrinally, it means the view that one is one's body, that the body is the real self.
There's also Peter Harvey's really nice little article on it, that the kaya refers to what exists, what is the existing body, the body of the khandhas, because there are 20 Sakaya Ditti, 20 views, and they are the relationship to the khandhas, which are four, like self is in, whatever they are, and I self has this, multiplied by the five khandhas. So it's a really lovely little article, and he says how it refers to the view that the view that one is one or more of these khandhas, the existing.
Okay, right. Is that an emailable link?
It certainly is. Yeah, I was looking at it yesterday, so I'll send
Ah,
you.
right.
It's very nice, very fine.
If you could send it to me, I'd be very grateful. Then I can include it in our next email to the group. Yeah, so if you could do that, Simon, yeah, please. So the Sakaya Ditti, I think I have on more than one occasion in the past explained this root kaya by reference to the root chi. Are you familiar, Shri Animala, with the meaning of the word or the etymology of the word kaya?
Not really, no.
Because it's actually very interesting and expressive. But if I hang on, I think I've lost my. I was trying to bring up my. Here we are. It's. I may have touched on it in a recent discussion on the various different words for the body. We have sharira, Pali sarira,
It's a body.
is a body, and deha, which you explained to us, Srinamala, in modern Sinhala, refers only to a dead body. Whereas
Yes.
in if we go further back into Pali and Sanskrit, it just refers to a body, not specifically alive or dead. But it very often does, unambiguously refer to a living body. So it's just interesting that in modern Sinhala it means a dead body only. But this word kaya, um, so it's actually from the root chi, meaning to heap up or to pile up or to accumulate. And we have vici, vi plus root chi, which means to literally to unheap, to pull apart. Bhikkhu Bodhi likes to use the word to deconstruct, which is actually a good rendering of it. So that's why we have, for example, it makes the verbal noun vichaya. And one of the bhujanga, one of the factors of enlightenment, is dhamma vichaya. And vichaya means, it means unheaping, pulling something apart. It's like taking something to pieces to see what it's made of. The deconstruction. So Dhammavichaya, sometimes translated as the analysis of states, or the analysis of mental phenomena or mental states, is literally pulling it apart into its component parts to see what it's made of. So that's from the root chi. Now, with a prefix, a verbal prefix, the chi makes verbal noun chaya, as in vichaya, uchaya are the two most common ones. On its own, the ch becomes a k, and it makes kaya. So kaya is a verbal noun from the root chi, meaning to accumulate or to assemble things together. So kaya meaning body, yes, it does mean body, but it means body under the specific aspect of the body viewed as an accumulation of a whole lot of different things, like a complex machine, not just one like a simple object like a stone. But yeah, I mean, it is an object, but it's a complex object composed of many parts. So that's the underlying imagery behind the word kaya. It's the accumulation of things, the assemblage. And the next word is the silabatam. Silabata, sila and bata, in Sanskrit, shila and vrata. Sila we commonly translate as virtue. We know the pancha silani and so on. The original meaning in Sanskrit, shila, is a characteristic form of conduct, whether on its own neutral. So just one's characteristic conduct. By extension, the word, in its meaning of conduct, it came to mean good conduct or virtue in Pali. So, for example, when I first saw the word, in Sanskrit it was, but the same principles apply, Papashila, I thought that was an oxymoron, a kind of contradiction in terms, because evil is the opposite of Shila. Then I realized that it didn't mean that at all. It meant evil by nature of habitually evil conduct. So just remember that Shila, Sanskrit Shila, Pali Sila, originally meant conduct, and then specialized into good conduct or ethical conduct. Here, in the Silabata, the word, I write in the Sanskrit, then Pali, Shila Vrata, Pali Silabata. This is a dvandva compound, two nouns of equal status. Silabata Yeah, Simon.
Yeah, could I suggest that it's not Dvanda, in the sense that three things are given up. Well, the first one is the identity view.
Mm,
Vichikitcha, okay, that's pretty obvious. But the what's not given up is sila. Um, the vata bit may very well be given up. So if they were two things together, you wouldn't give up the both of them. The stream entrant would continue with improved sila. And
ah,
I'm just struck by that. Tell me whether you think this is a possibility. Normally, you get this idea of um, silabata paramasa, which is the sort of wrong handling or fondling of
mm,
um, of religious observances, the vata and sila. Um, but on its own, could this simply mean a different type of compound? The idea that um, the vata is held to have ethical significance. So the vata is empty. It's just a matter of pouring water, lighting fires, etc. But it's a kind of it refers to an action which is mistakenly thought to be ethical in status, but is in fact neutral. It's just the movement of stuff. So it's something more like a tapurisa.
okay, so sila bata would then mean vows regarding one's conduct.
Or
Um,
vata is kind of not just vows. It's kind of religious observances, isn't it? It can be vows, but it can be like
mm,
duties as well.
yeah,
So yeah,
I think that's right. Yeah, I mean the looking at it as it is, the answer is yes. It could be either a dvandva or a tapurisa. So sila and vrata as a dvandva, or vrata, what kind of vrata? Shila vrata.
but if it's a dvanda, then silabata is he's giving up religious observances and vows, and he's also giving up equally sila. But the stream entrant doesn't do that.
No, certainly don't know. Well, the streamer, he does the exact opposite. I mean, he kind of fortifies his sila. I
But
think my own take on it for some years has been, but I'm perfectly open to have it either demolished, hopefully expanded, is that it means reliance on mere, it is reliance on mere outward shows of morality, a kind of the Pharisee show of this is my conduct, this is the conduct that I engage in. Look at me, aren't I wonderful, engaging in this kind of conduct.
that's precisely the thing that would be conveyed by a tapurisa, um, rather than having a dvanda. Because if you had a tapurisa, that's saying that the vows are considered to be of an ethical. Sorry, yeah, the vows are considered,
Yeah, like a vow, a vrata, to adopt a certain kind of shila.
or even a ritual, because it covers
Yes,
ritual as
yeah.
well. Which and the whole
Mm.
thing about the Pharisee element is normally contained within the paramasa, the kind of the messing around with, the mishandling of things.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a perfectly valid point that you've made there, Simon. I believe that it's been most commonly interpreted as reliance on certain types of conduct and vows, or making a watch me engaging in this kind of conduct, watch or hear me taking this kind of vow as two separate things. Or you're right, it could equally correctly be interpreted as vows regarding conduct. I think the more common interpretation is the Dwandwa one, but it could be either. Incidentally, the word bhatta in Sanskrit vrata with a vr as I've written it here. Oops. Vreta is actually cognate with our English word word, in the sense of I give you my word, and one's word of honor, one's solemn formal word, which is, and in that enhanced meaning, that's why it's typically translated as a vow. A vow, is your solemn word, your solemn promise to do something.
Which normally Silabata is translated as, well, often is translated as rites and rituals, which is
That's right, yeah.
pretty nonsensical, because a rite is a ritual. It's exactly the same thing.
It is. I mean, the rite is the noun form, and ritual is just the adjectival form, but come to be used as a noun. So that's not actually a terribly good translation. I think it's one of those cases. Oh, I lost my text again. It's one of those cases where people use it because it's a stock phrase in English, and everyone knows the phrase, and it makes the text flow nicely, which, as we know, is anathema to people like us. However funky the text, we're trying to understand what the Pali really says, not to produce something that flows nicely in English. So. Sakaiditivitchikitancha silapatam vapi yadatti kinchi. Va api, or even yadatti kinchi, whatever there is. So whatever there is of, I've translated here as reliance on, then in bracket rules of virtue and vows and so on. But I certainly acknowledge that your take on it could well be right, Simon. Vichikitcha is a very interesting word. It comes from the root chit, from which we have chitta. And here it's the word in its sense of actively thinking about something. It is the desiderative form. So we take the root chit and you make the desiderative form by a partial reduplication of the root. So it would be chichit plus the desiderative ending sa, meaning a desire to chit. We see a phenomenon where you get a duplication of a palatal with another palatal. The first one changes to, so the second one changes to a k. So instead of chit, it becomes chikit. That's just for euphony to avoid a chichit. So it becomes chikitsa. So chikitsa originally then had the meaning of the desire or intention or engaging in the practice of using your mind to analyze, to think about something. And then actually that meaning, using one's, the intentional desire to use your mind to analyze something, that specialized into the practice of medicine, and particularly in a diagnosis where you were analyzing a problem. Well, with the prefix vi, this seems to have the meaning then of going all over the place, a scattered application of mind. See, is it this? Is it that? Could it be this? Could it be that? I'm not sure. One moment I think this, one moment I think the other. It's where your analytical thinking, your desire to penetrate and get into something, the chikitsa in Pali, chikitsa in Sanskrit, then becomes all scattered. And that's why you get this perplexed doubt, just don't know where your mind is, going all over the place, but not being able to find an answer. So you get chikitsa, vichikitsa, and vichikitchita with essentially the same meaning. It's Simon, yes.
I'm going to ask that about why it's not Vichikitchan, why it's got the extra IT there. Is that just a different form?
So vichikitchitam. Okay, yes. Um, Let me, first of all, as always, if we see, not always, as very commonly, see what it is in Sanskrit. Oops, and then help us to understand. So,
You're on the iPad.
oh, thank you, thank you. There we are. So, Sanskrit, chikit, chikitsati is the verb, the ordinary indicative verb. Chikitsati, he, she, it, applies the mind in analyzing something. um, It is a regular formation. You can make a verbal noun from the desiderative verbs by adding sa. So chikitsati is the verb, chikitsa is the verbal noun. The past participle is chikitsita. Now, as often happens, the past participle can also be used as a verbal noun. It does often happen. So that's how we get these forms chikitcha and vichikitchita in Pali. Incidentally, note in phonetic mutation between Sanskrit and Pali, a TS in Sanskrit almost always becomes a cha in Pali, which it does here. So vichikitsa in Sanskrit, vichikitcha in Pali.
It also occurred to me that, okay, vi apart, so
Mm,
the desiderative and it's wanting to think apart, the mind wavers, it won't settle, etc.
yeah. Mm,
A couple of lines above it, we've got another use of vi, which is the vibhavayanti, which is thinking, okay, it's separative, but in the sense of making something very clear, being specific that it's this.
indeed, it is. So it does have those quite distinct meanings in exactly the same way as our prefixes di, dis, and die do in English.
I'm just wondering whether, in this case, then the vichikitcha, whether that it might mean the tendency of the mind in a meditative sense to wander off the object.
Mm.
It also mean the attempt to kind of to over or clarify, to over clarify, to overthink, to over focus on the object, which of course is equally a problem in meditation.
Yeah. I If you were looking at the word purely the shape of the word and what could the V in front of it mean, I would say you're right. I mean, it could be either. According to my understanding, however, I think just by usage, it has come to mean kind of wavering, vacillating doubt, not knowing which way to go. So here we've got the vi in a kind of a negative sense, a scattered, a rather pejorative use of it, rather like vikshepa from in Sanskrit kshepa meaning throwing, vikshepa meaning the mind is distracted, thrown all over the place. So vikshepa in Sanskrit, vikepa in Pali. And here I think it has that same meaning here.
So I had the sense that once the person reaches stream entry, then what's given up in effect would be something like fanaticism. They've locked on to a particular way of expressing it and will not let that go. There's a softness about the mind. But no, I mean, I take your point. Just a thought.
Yeah, an interesting one. You were saying that with the stream entry, you abandon the fanatic locking on to a. duality, of course, to your view. Yeah. No, I certainly take your point there. I think that just as far as I'm aware from the reading I've done, I'm always open to correction on this. It seems to be this kind of the negative sense, the vacillating doubt, your mind all over the place. We see a highly positive and beneficial use of the word for example, in vipassana. So in vipassana, it doesn't mean you're kind of looking all over the place, not knowing where to look. Here it has the sense of the separation as you're, as it were, opening the veil, penetrating the veil, looking beneath the surface, piercing the surface, and seeing behind. I mean, it's as well to get into our minds that our prefixes in English via Latin, d and dis and die, are etymologically exactly the same as this v prefix in Sanskrit and Pali. It's from, go back further into Proto-Indo-European. It was a dvi, meaning into, and we have both the beneficial meanings and the pejorative meanings. In even in modern English, you can talk about discerning something, where you wisely see exactly what it is, but equally you can have distract, where it's the same trahere in Latin means you put with a rather pejorative meaning there, an involuntary pulling of your attention away from what you wanted it on. And this we see exactly the same phenomenon in Sanskrit and Pali. There's a very wide range of meanings with our prefixes, didis and die in English. And exactly the same we see in Pali. So this meaning of the root goes right back to Proto-Indo-European times and has survived pretty much intact into our modern day. So what we'll do now, if I may, we're at 8:04. Should we just have a 10-minute break? And we'll convene in 10 minutes from now, 8:15 UK time. Okay, see you then.
You have to stop the recording, sir.
So this oh, silly me, I forgot to pause the recording. I just reminded that I remembered that I forgot to pause. Never mind. So this the yedati kinchi yed whatever yed kinchi, just whatever is. I mean, whatever there is of something. Just another way of saying all of it, all of that kind of thing. So before we move on to the second part of verse 10, were there any comments or queries on this one? We'll move on to the second one then. Chatuhapayehi cha vippamuto cha chabithanani abhabbo katung idampi sanghe ratanam panitang etena satchena suvattihotu. So this is vipamutta from the root much, meaning to release. This would have had pretty much the same meaning without the prefix vi here, just much to release, pramuch, so pamuch, past participle, pramutta or pamutta in Pali. The idea of so much to release, pramut, the idea of going forth, like the imagery of releasing a captive bird from your hand. And the prefix vi here tends to have an intensive sense of movement away, as if you're a captive. He is released, he goes forth and whoosh up and away. So vipa has this, or vipra in Sanskrit, vipa in Pali has this emphatic away and forth, away and out. And when you are released from something. And here we have the ablative, the chatuhi apayehi, from the four evil states. The apaya, it's our root I with the verbal noun aya, and so an apa, meaning apa. The meaning of apa actually overlaps in large part with ava, meaning away or off. So apa often means down. So the apa aya or apaya means a down going, means a lower state into which you fall. So literally just a down going. I've noted here that Bhikkhu Bodhi has translated apaya here as plains of misery, which is a slight gloss on it, and obviously a lot more expressive than just the downgoings. But purely linguistically, it's the from the released vipamutto, released from the four downgoings. And abhabbo, that's in Sanskrit, it is abhavya, but with a slightly different meaning. It's literally unbeable. It's from the root bhu, to be. In Sanskrit, abhavya has more the meaning of something that is improper, but in Pali it's come to mean incapable. So, and we say incapable of doing something in Sanskrit and Pali, incapable with the infinitive. So somebody is abhabbo katung, literally incapable to do. We say incapable of doing or of committing. The cha abhitanani. the cha, 6, cha, cha, and the 6 abhitanas. It's a slightly odd word here. So abhi, above or over, tana, standing. So abhitana has come to mean an outstandingly wicked thing. It's just acquired this meaning of a wicked deed. As I was saying with apa and ava, some of these verbal prefixes have an overlapping meaning, and apa and ava do have an overlapping meaning of off, down, away. Abhi and adhi also have overlapping meanings. It's up to, towards, can mean motion towards and on top of. And very often what the words come to mean is a matter of usage. So we have the abhitana, which means a seriously evil deed. Whereas by contrast with adhitana is the highly positive quality of your resolve, the firm resolve to keep at it. Here again we see an example of the slight irregularity of Pali and whether it doubles a letter or not. I'm looking at the Epitana. If we look at if we look at these words in Sanskrit, Adhisthana and Abhishtana, in Pali, as you would expect, you have a doubled T, and that's what gives us Adhitthana, the one commonly translated as a firm resolve. You make an adhitthana, for example, at the start of a retreat or at the start of a meditation sit. You make your adhitthana that you're going to keep with it for as long as you've decided that you will. But here it's the double T, as expected, whereas in Pali this abhitthana just appears with the one T. We would have expected a double T, but there it is. Our expectations have been dashed. I'm just going to check whether the PTS has it in that way as well. Yes, so that's correct. The Pali Text Society's dictionary again just gives it with a single T. I mean, these are serious crimes like killing your parents or killing an arahant. So not a minor misdeed. It's got to be seriously wicked to qualify as an abhitana. Anyway, so the people in that position, they might be capable of committing minor infractions, but they would not be capable of committing any of the the seriously wicked acts. Oops, where have we got? Oops. There we are. And the last line, of course, the same as the others that we've had. So were there any comments or queries about this what I've marked here as verse 10a? Simon.
Just a little one about Hamba. we've met that one before, like incapable, with in Garen Karunatilaka. I don't know if you can remember the shopkeeper who's not able to make a profit.
That's right, yes. He simply can't do it because he's not there attending to his business. Yes.
If it began or if it started as kind of unbeable, I'm just wondering whether it retains sometimes that same meaning, the simpler meaning of something being impossible or not feasible, or whether it was always tipped over into the active, so it's somebody being incapable.
Yeah. Um, so in English, when we don't talk about a person being impossible of doing something. We talk about an impossible person, but that's a different kind of meaning. So we said a thing is impossible, or that a person is incapable of doing it. Yes, I think the meaning did shift. It seems to have started off meaning impossible, and then by extension, then it was applied to the person, meaning the person is not able to do it.
And do we ever find the original meaning in Pali? And if we see abhabba, does it always mean an incapable, a person's incapacity, or does it sometimes mean the impossibility of a situation or action?
Mm. Um, that I would need to look at. This is Moni Williams, abhavya, not to be, not predestined, simply that which will not come to be. And then more then the extended meaning, it ought not to be, and therefore an improper, something that shouldn't happen. And then by extension, ugly, wicked, or unhappy, miserable, in a state that you'd rather not be in. So those are the meanings in Sanskrit. And in Pali, it's etymologically the same word. Oh, it's specifically mentioned here. Yes, the Sanskrit abhavya has a different meaning. So in Sanskrit, undesirable, what ought not to be, not destined to be. But in Pali, it's essentially the same word, but with a shift of meaning. Impossible, not likely. So it can mean impossible as applying it to a thing, or talking about the possibility of an event occurring. And as we see here, and as in this text as well, it refers to the incapability of the person.
It can be both then.
Of the sorry?
Can be both then.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Impossibility is normally something like netam tanam vijjati, isn't it? It's like this thing cannot be found. The state does not exist.
That's right. Literally, this place does not exist. So it cannot be that it will happen. There's no, in a sense, it's saying no place for it to happen. It can't happen. That's correct. And again, that kind of meaning that you've just raised, the Nathan Tanam Vijati, you've got the Abhabatana. Again, literally the impossible places, or just the impossibilities. So Tana used in that same way there. Right. So should we do a recitation of it? Shirimala, would you like to recite then this one, the 10, and then Simon can do the 10A after it?
Sahavassa dassana sampadaya tayassu dhamma jahita bhavanti. Sakkaya ditti vichikichitancha silabattang chapi yadatta kinchi.
Exactly. So that was read without a single error. Are you reading off a Sinhala version of it there?
Yes.
I thought you might be, yes, because that came out very, very
I
fluently.
had a book.
You've got the book in Sinhala. Okay.
Yes.
So, maybe it's a little bit unfair on you when you're reading it out of the Devanagari or the Roman script. But yeah, that came out with a lovely fluency in Sinhala. And am I right in thinking, Srinimal, I seem to remember you having told the group a while ago that the Ratana Sutta is something you've known, ever since you were a little girl. You were even
Yes.
chanting it in the ceremonies
Yes.
in the temples.
Every time when you go to temple, even the last 2 weeks back, we had a Vesak ceremony. Ne? So
Mhm.
we are chanting Ratna Sutre, Mangala Sutre, everything.
Right. So that was one of the very regular chants
Yes.
that you did.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
Well, we could tell it came out with such assured fluency as you recited it there. In fact,
Yes.
I'm not even sure you had to look at the text. You probably have it all in your head, do you?
Yes. Yeah, even in the head. Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Shinamala. Follow that, Simon. It's
Yeah,
on the one A there.
yeah, I was going to say it's very easy for Sri Animala, but then I realized it's a bit like me studying Chaucer in Sinhala. So it's the fact that she's doing it all in English anyway is something else, isn't it? Chatuhapayehi chavipamutto chachapitanani abhabhokatum. Idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena satchena suvatti hotu.
Okay, very good. So um, we can move on then to 11. Unless
Yeah.
any
I
further
want to say
comment,
something.
please
Though we are
do.
start, yeah, from the small age we are chanting everything, but I don't know any meaning. Now only I'm learning the meaning of the
Okay,
gathas.
wonderful. So you had the words but not the meaning.
Yes,
Mm.
like a parrot we are chanting.
Mm. I've seen that happening very, very much, very often in my younger years, in Roman Catholic churches when people were reciting things in Latin, and not everybody had a complete grasp of what they were saying. Anyway, now I'm very happy that you're getting the meaning of it. One interesting thing, I was asking about the Ratana Sutta just a few moments ago, and at one point I heard you pronouncing it in the Sanskrit way. You said to about a sutra. Rather,
Sutra.
did you use the
Yeah.
word sutra? So this is
Yes. Ratana Sutra, Mangala Sutra. Yes.
oh, so you use the Sanskrit form rather than sutta. You use sutra.
Yes.
This is this wonderful example of how in Sri Lanka you've got this strong, primarily Buddhist, but you've got this strong Hindu and Sanskrit tradition as
Yes.
well. And in many cases, you can equally use a Pali word or a Sanskrit word. So although we dealing with a Pali sutta, we would say Ratana Sutta, it was interesting to hear you slipping into the Sanskrit form and talk about the Ratana Sutra.
Yeah, because our Buddhist monk, they know both Sanskrit and Pali. So when they are chanting,
Yeah,
maybe they are, yes.
right. Good. So we go on to verse 11. So Kinchapi sukham makaroti papakam kayena vacha udacchetasava abhabbusu tassa praticchadaya abhabbata tittapadassa vutta idampi sanghe ratanam panitam etena satchena suvatti hutu. So here we've got our abhabbu again. Um, and the abstract noun of it, the abhabhata, Sanskrit abhavyata. So kinchapi, so kincha and what even, kinchapi, literally what and even is just is whatever, it means whatever. Whatever you say, I won't believe you. Kinchapi vedasi, whatever you say. So, and here, kinchapi so kamma karoti, whatever kamma, whatever deed or action karoti he does, whatever kam, whatever evil deed or action he does, kayena, vacha, udachetasava. These are three instrumentals here. Kayena, by the body, vacha, by speech, chetasava, by mental activity. So whatever, it's not saying that such a person cannot commit a papaka kamma, a wrong act. But it says whatever wrong act he does commit by body, speech, or mind are the three standard ways of committing a wrongful act. He is incapable of, he is incapable of hiding it. This seems to refer to a kind of, yes, he might be capable of doing a wrongful act, but his morality is such that he wouldn't lie about it or can conceal the fact that it happens. I don't know whether there is any other interpretation of that verse. Simon.
Yeah, it's kind of strange that the three things that he can't do in the previous verse, one of them or another one isn't lying. So it might be that he can't or won't lie about that which he does, but he can still tell a white lie or can still misrepresent the truth, but not about his own wrongdoing, so to speak.
That's an interesting point there. It's almost as if it draws a moral distinction between not moral distinction that we can easily see, I think, between a white lie and then kind of lying to conceal your own misdeed. So I hadn't spotted that point, Simon, but I do tend to agree with you there.
There would be an infinite regress, wouldn't there? You could tell a lie, but you'd have to confess it later, and so on. You could keep telling lies, but you'd always have to own up in the end.
Which rather destroys the point of telling lies if you know that you're going to. That's right, because here, I mean, vacha, by speech, that it is specifically so a wrongful act by speech is not limited to, but certainly includes any form of lie. So the long ah there, the ena ending is our well-known instrumental ending for the nominals ending in a short a, kayena, by the body. In the consonantal declension, that's where the stem ends in a consonant, then the instrumental is just in a. So we have, for example, we have the chetas, which in Pali then becomes cheto, but in the instrumental chetasa. This vacha seems to be a survival from the Sanskrit. I mean, we do see in Pali things that are just survivals from the Sanskrit, because the Pali, you see, there is the Sanskrit um, stem vach, just meaning speech. Let me call up the iPad again to explain that. Oops, where's my iPad? Here we are. Here we are. So we've got the root with the short a, vach, meaning to speak or to say. As we know, that's the same one that gives the Latin vox and our English word voice and vocal. There is, it makes, one of the ways of making a verbal noun is vach, which is a Sanskrit form. So what happens is, you know, that a stem or a root can end in a ch, but the actual word, once it's, you know, entered into grammatical life as part of a sentence, a word can't end in a ch, so this becomes a vak in Sanskrit. Now, we want to add an a to make the instrumental ending. It's a consonantal stem, so the ending is just a long a. We now, it can come back to ch because it's got a vowel after it. So vak, instrumental vacha, by speech. Pali makes a new word vacha as the nominative form. So we would expect the instrumental to be vachaya. But here's the trick. Sometimes, and particularly in poetry, instead of the instrumental ending aya, they sometimes have just a. So when you see vacha in Pali, what is it? Is it a shortened form of the instrumental vachaya, or is it a survival from the Sanskrit on the stem vach? So say you do find these occasional hangovers from Sanskrit left behind in Pali. My favorite example in English is the old dative plural. Are you aware of any dative plurals in English, Simon or Srinimala? Well, I only know of one that's left over, and that's when we say in the olden days. The en in the olden days is a rare survival from the old Anglo-Saxon dative plural. And it's still, but modern German has it in their regular speech. So in the olden days, in modern German, is in den alten Tagen, which is that they regularly keep their dative plural, but we have this rare survival of the dative plural in English. So we have this vacha, which could be just a survival of a purely Sanskrit form. Because the
Sorry, what makes olden dative? How do we know it's dative?
with the prefix in English, with the preposition in, if it's a static in, it actually takes the dative in modern German, and it used to take the dative in Anglo-Saxon. So say in the olden days, with that use of the word in, then the following nouns and adjectives just were in the dative.
Would that be the same for when you talk about areas like the Wealden area, the Sussex Wealden, or is that just an adjective? Or...
I think in that case it's just an adjective, which we have several ending in N. For example, golden is just the adjective from gold, and we talk about, wheaten, for example, means of the color of wheat. But I don't think that that's a data plural, whereas in the olden days is distinctly a survival of the data plural. I'm just going to call up the okay. So this is the vacha. Oh, disappeared. Oh, it's disappeared. Come on. Vacha, feminine. Voice or word. So this form vacha doesn't actually exist in Sanskrit. The Sanskrit form, it's just a monosyllable consonant stem. So stem form vach, nominative form vak, instrumental vacha. In many, many cases, Pali doesn't quite like consonantal stems as much as Sanskrit does, so Pali will very often flip it into a vowel stem. So we get this feminine vach in Sanskrit, which then in Pali simply becomes vacha. Incidentally, this we have many words that stems, iPad again, many words ending in an as in Sanskrit and Pali. For example, we have the root nam, meaning to bow and then to venerate. And that makes a verbal noun namas. And words that end in an as or an ah in Pali, in Sanskrit rather, typically become namo in Pali. Namo tassa bhagavato. But that is the same namas, which gives us the modern Hindu greeting, namaste, homage to thee. From the root man, we get the stem manas. Now, we very often see instrumentals of these forms. So, with the mind is manasa. If you look at the first verse of the Dhammapada, manasa che paduttena, if with a corrupted mind, that's the manasa. We have the Sanskrit word, one of the words for head is shiras in Sanskrit, which gives the stem siras in Pali. And many of you will recognize the word sirasa as in sirasa namami. So sirasa namami, literally, I reverence or I revere with the head. And that specifically means that you are making the reference by bowing right down and placing your head on the ground. That's the meaning of sirasa namami. I venerate with the head. So that the ah of the sirasada is another example of the instrumental ah ending in the consonantal declension. the abhaboso tassa patichadaya. I said before that we had the abhabba with the infinitive. Here it's used with the dative. So it could be abhabbo patichadetum or patichadaya. You can use the infinitive or the dative here. I think it's more common, you more commonly see it with the infinitive. So patichadeti means from the root chad, meaning to hide or to cover. So the patichadeti, to hide something away, to keep it secret. So he is incapable, literally, to the hiding tassa of it, that is, of the misdeed. Bhaboso tassa patichadaya. He is incapable of the hiding of it. And this abhabata, this incapability, this quality of just not being able to do it, vutta is said, that means is said to be, commonly held to be, of vutta, from the root vach, it's the past participle, just meaning is said, and it's very frequently used in the sense of commonly held to be, commonly said to be, just is said. So this incapability is said to be of the one who has seen the state. So in other words, by common consent, it is commonly said that this incapability of hiding evil deeds results from or belongs to or is a quality of one who is dittapada, one who has seen that state or place. And here we have the word pada from the root pad, meaning to go. It's the same one that gives us the word pada, meaning a foot. So the pada means quite a number of things. It means a place or a state. Also means words, or as we see it in the Sikkapadam, Sikkapada, Sikha training, Pada training words, the training rule. Panatipata Veramani Sikkapadang Samadhyami. I undertake the training rule of refraining from taking life. Here it means the state, meaning the sublime state, it means a footing as well, like a place where one stops or stands, like a footing. We have it, for example, in the opening verse of the Karaniya Metta Sutta, Yang Tang Santam Padam Abhisamecha, meaning that either that true state or that peaceful state. It could mean either. So the idea is that he has reached a certain level of dasana, a certain level of vision, whereby he has had a glimpse of that state. It's the path moment, the stream enterer. So this then incapability of committing certain evil deeds is said to be, is vutta, to belong to the, or to be proper to the ditta padasa of the person who has seen that state. This vutta it's from the root vach that we've just been looking at. In Sanskrit, I'll just explain how vutta comes from the root vach. So in Sanskrit, you would make your past participle by the root plus ta. I put the asterisk as normal to show that the form I'm giving is writing here doesn't actually exist. It's an intermediate form. So vachta would by internal sandhi have to become vakta, because you can't have a chta in Sanskrit, it becomes a kta, so vakta. But even vakta now doesn't exist, because what happened was that the final syllable of these past participles in ta, in Vedic, it was the udatta, kind of raised tone, slightly stressed raised tone, the ukta, ukta. So what happened was, by the process of samprasarana, the va was weakened into an u. So it would be ukta, be pronounced ukta in Vedic, but the stresses and accents disappeared in classical Sanskrit. So that gave us ukta. So we have the ukta, which is now the regular Sanskrit past participle for said from the root vach. You would have expected to see in Pali the kta becoming a double ta. You would have expected to see utta. However, what happened in Pali, the V of the root actually came back. It came back. Maybe through the popular perception, oh, hang on, the root is vach, we better put a v in front of the word. So that's how we get in Pali. That accounts for the Pali vutta, meaning said, or is, no, meaning is said to be. So are there any comments or queries then arising out of this verse 11? I should mention that, by the way, this verb, this adjective, papaka, the word papa is both a noun and an adjective. As a neuter noun, papam just means is a papa, and a wrongful act, commonly translated as sin. And it's also an adjective, meaning evil, wrongful, sinful. Where you put a ka at the end of it, now it becomes purely adjectival. So this could have been equally correctly, you can talk about a papangkamma or a papakangkamma. And I don't think there's any difference of meaning. Simon.
Is there any significance of the Uda in the first line rather than simply another va? Because Udahi is normally used kind of more intensely, isn't it? Kind of either this or that.
Exactly so, yes. Udacchetasava. As I read it, I get the slight sense that it has a bit more of an intensive meaning rather than the ordinary va, just meaning or. So you're right to point that out. I can't definitively say, but I certainly have the sense that it has a more emphatic meaning here.
So kind of by body, speech, or by mind.
Yes, I mean we could just even emphasize it, whether by body, speech, or mind. That kind of means that you're emphasizing it. Any one of those, there is no exclusion. Any one of them. I mean, as we know, va is by far the more common way, but as you write, the uda or udahi is the emphatic form. So, would you like to recite this one for us, Shriya Nimala, please?
Kimchapi so kammang karoti papakang kaena vacha udatecha sawa. Boso tassa paticca daya ahabbatta ditta padassa chutta. Idampi sange ratanam panitang etena sachena swatti hoti.
Okay, wonderful. Could you just can you just say again how you pronounce that word here, the ababbo?
Ababbo so tassa.
Okay, right. Okay, fine. Good, excellent. Thank you. And Simon, round to you.
Kinchapi so kamma karoti papakam kayena vacha udachetasava. Abhabbo sotassa patichadaya abhabbata ditta padassa vutta. Idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena satchena suvatti hotu.
Okay, thank you. One other thing, Sri Animala, I don't know if I misheard. When you said Kinchapi, did you say Kinchapi so kamang karoti or kammak karoti?
Kinchapi so kammang karoti.
Kamang karoti. Both are correct in Pali.
Yeah.
You can have either. It seems that the text that you have has got the anuswara there, kamang karoti.
Kammang, yeah.
Okay.
Kammang karoti.
The point here is that this is a neuter
Yeah,
noun.
kamma karoti, yeah.
Yeah, so both forms are allowed in Pali. You might have one text with one form, another text with another form. Clearly, in the text you have in front of you, it's got the kamang karoti.
Yeah, kammang karoti.
Right. So in
But here is a kamma.
So yeah, I'll just explain how that comes to be. In Sanskrit, we all know the word karma, most frequently used now in English, and phrases like instant karma. Karma is a neuter noun, and its stem is an N, so it's a neuter noun in an N. And another very common word is a stem form with an N stem is nama. So both of them are neuter nouns in Sanskrit. Now, the rule in Sanskrit is where you get a neuter noun ending in an, stem form an, in the nominative and accusative, all that happens is the N drops off. So you get the word karma is the nominative and accusative singular form of karman. And just as, for example, you also have nama, literally name, is the nominative and accusative singular form. That is the correct way of doing it in Sanskrit. In Pali, you can do two things. You can either retain the Sanskrit form, kamma, or, as Pali very often does, you can just flip it over into an akaranta shabda, and into just as if the stem ended in a. So you can also have in Pali kammang. So in Sanskrit, for the nominative and accusative, which is the same for the neuter, of course, the only correct form is karma. In Pali, both forms are allowed, kamma, following the Sanskrit, or kammang, changing it into a regular neuter ending in stem a in Pali. And as we've just seen, they can be used indiscriminately in the text. And the text that I've got here is kamma, and in the text that Sri Animala has, it's written as kammang. As I say, both are equally correct. And this seems to be in the, as a matter of the meter here. This is one of those cases where you can have a long or a short. So the poet wasn't constrained to say kamma or kammang. either would have been in order here. So we could make just a little start on verse 12. Vanapagumhe yatha pussitagge kimhanamase patamasmin gimhe tatupamandam varangadesayi nibbanagamim paramang idampi buddhe ratanam panitam etena sakchena suvatti hotu. Here we have a series of locatives. So vana meaning a forest, a gumba means just a thicket, a thick bit. In Pali, in Sanskrit rather, you also had the form glumba, which just became in Pali gumba. So you might recognize from the Sanskrit form glumba, it comes into English as a clump, doesn't it? So vana gumba, a forest clump, like a clump of trees or a thicket of trees in a forest. So yatha, just as, pusitagge is an adjective qualifying vanapagumba. So agga, meaning the tip, that's the Sanskrit, agra, meaning the tip, which becomes in Pali agga. So here means it's the tip, meaning the tips of the twigs. It's referring here to the buds and blossoms appearing at the tips of the branches. So prasita means blossomed. So prasita agga means with blossomed tips. So prasitagge vanapagumbe, in a blossom-tipped forest thicket. So in a clump of trees in the forest, where the trees have their tips, the tips of the branches breaking out in blossom or bud. This word agga is from the root adj, meaning a sharp point. So agra originally meant something sharp. And then it meant the tip of something, the point, as in the sharp point over a sword or a spear. It also gives us the word ekagga in Sanskrit, ekagra, so it's eka agra, one point. See, the ekagra chitta, the one-pointed mind. So the ekagra becomes ekagga in Pali. So ekaggata, literally one-pointedness, one-tippedness, one-pointedness. Incidentally, this root aj and ug becomes ug is cognate with the Latin ac, as in acute, meaning sharp. So our word acute and agra are from the same root. Simon, please.
Do we also get words like ads and axe from that?
So ak.
Sorry, ads as in the tool, or axe?
So as in the, I didn't catch.
Adze or axe. The tool, the chopper, an axe.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I didn't catch. That's right. Of course, yes, it probably is actually. It's, you know, your sharp tool for chopping.
There's also adze, isn't there? ADZE.
And the adze, yes. And also it's likely that our word, you know, the German die Ecke and our word edge are also from that same root. You could talk about the sharp edge of a blade. So is that the primitive meaning of sharpness? So these are just as in the blossom-tipped forest thicket, when Gimha namase, the Gimha means heat. Patamasmin Gimhe, in the first heat. In other words, as soon as you get your first warmth of spring, Gimha namase, in the warm month, which is the word used for, you know, the first warm month after the winter. So Gimha is a noun meaning warmth, and Gimhana is the corresponding adjective. So Gimhamamase, just in the warm month. So Patamasmin Gimhe, in the first warmth, Gimhanamase, in the warm month. So the person described in the second line then is likened to this clump of trees in the forest at the beginning of spring, at the beginning of the warmth of spring, when the tips of the branches are bursting into bud and blossom. Tatupamam dhammavarang nadesai nibbanagaming paramang hitaya. So adesai, desesi is another form. It's the past, the aorist or the past tense of deseti. You can have desesi, he taught, or adesai. They're both possible forms of the past tense. So just as yata, tata in that same way, he taught, or tata upamam, with that thus example, with that as an example, or with that as a simile, he taught the Dhammavarang, he taught the best of Dhammas. Nibbana gaming, Nibbana going, the Paramang Nibbana gaming, the supreme Nibbana going, or the supreme way leading to Nibbana, and then Hitaya for the benefit, meaning for the benefit of all. Simon.
Where's varam from?
And so say again, your voice coming a little bit blurred.
Varam, the Dhamma varam, the Dhamma choice. Where's that from? Are there any other words that relate to that?
Varam, you're right in saying it does. The basic meaning is choice. But when it's used as a suffix, and not only is it's often used even not as a suffix, it's very commonly used, just meaning the best of something, the most excellent of something. Just as in English, you can talk about, you know, your choice thing, meaning your best thing, your favorite thing.
Does it relate to any other words that we've come across? I mean, is it? I was thinking about, you know, warding off, as if you've warded something off.
Okay. There is the root vri in Sanskrit, written V with the subdotted r, which are actually two different roots with two different meanings. One means to choose, and the other means to ward off. The root meaning vri meaning to ward off, which we have in samvara, for example, warding off or protecting, restraining. We have that comes into in English as the words ward and guard. The root vri originally meant to want something, and that is cognate with the Latin velle and volo and volition, and our English word will. So vri meaning your choice is that which you wish to have. In the more primitive meaning, it meant your will or your wish. And that's one that comes into English as will and into Latin as volo, volition, voluntary. So what we'll do now, just come to just gone 9:15. So we'll stop here and resume with this verse next time round. As I mentioned, I will now be away for 3 solid weeks, leaving to tomorrow morning. So we'll be back on the Tuesday. It's the second Tuesday in July. I'll just call it up here. Oops. Yeah, that's right. So I'm away tomorrow, Sunday the 14th, back on Sunday the 5th of July, 3 weeks hence. And so our next Pali class will be that Tuesday. So I'll mention this in my email to the group. So we'll be meeting again then on Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday 7th of July at normal time. Good. So I'm looking forward with some trepidation to three solid weeks at Green Street. Hopefully I'll emerge from it a better man.
Yes.
Okay, so should we chant the blessing and go our ways then? So, Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba buddhanu bhavena sada suthi bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba dhammanu bhavena sada suthi bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba sanghanu bhavena sada suthi bhavantu te. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, thank you for joining me, and see you in just over three weeks' time then.
Happy retreat.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Bye then. Bye.